What's up, Taiwan? Good evening. I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The U.S. says Taiwan is still failing to catch cases of forced labor on fishing vessels because of inadequate staffing and inspection procedures. It says Taiwan should step up inspections and prosecute senior crew and owners of fishing vessels suspected of abusing foreign fishery workers. The criticism comes in the U.S. State Department's annual report on how countries around the world are tackling human trafficking. Taiwan kept its top-tier ranking overall, with the report saying the country meets the minimum standards for elimination of trafficking. Taiwan's fisheries agency said earlier this year it was hiring more officers to inspect conditions on board boats. Taiwan recorded almost 27,000 new domestic COVID-19 cases on Wednesday. With the country's outbreak slowly coming under control, authorities are starting to loosen restrictions even further. Mask mandates are being relaxed, as are some of the country's border restrictions. Erika Liu has details.
Pandemic restrictions in Taiwan are gradually being eased. With case numbers down, the country's COVID-19 response task force is lifting the face mask requirement effective immediately for several categories of people. These include bicyclists, scooter riders, and those who work outdoors. Health officials say mask rules could be relaxed even more in August, depending on the situation then.
比较空旷的地方的时候会脱下来，如果人多的地方我还是会戴起来，因为家中还是有一些小朋友之类的，不希望被感染。
It's not just rules on Taiwan citizens that are being relaxed. Border restrictions are also being eased, allowing more foreign arrivals into the country. From July 25th, people under the following categories can enter Taiwan once they've applied for a special permit: foreign volunteers, interns, missionaries, those visiting for language or religious seminars, on working holidays, or attending international exchange programs. Taiwan's newly appointed head of the COVID-19 task force says this is part of efforts to reopen the country to international arrivals.
未来我们的确是要朝向这个开放观光、振兴经济这些方向去走。
For now, all international arrivals will still need to quarantine for 3 days. Wang says the government will eventually lift the requirement, but it probably won't happen in the near future. Alex Chen and Erika Liu for TaiwanPlus.
A vice president of the European Parliament, Nicola Beer, on Wednesday admonished China's threats against Taiwan. Beer met Taiwan President Tsai on the second day of her 3-day trip to the country. She is the first sitting vice president of the European Parliament to visit Taiwan in an official capacity. It comes after Taiwan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Tuesday rebuked the incoming EU-China envoy. Jorge Toledo Albeñana had indicated support for the peaceful reunification of China and Taiwan. But Beer said Europe was deeply concerned about China unilaterally changing the status quo with Taiwan.
This must not happen, under no circumstances, under no pretext. Only the Taiwanese people can decide on Taiwanese future. We call on the People's Republic of China to refrain from its threatening gestures. We admonish China not to destroy Taiwan's plussing, but to take an active and constructive part in maintaining and securing the current status quo based on mutual and respectful dialogue.
Taiwan's President Tsai says the country will put more resources into developing green energy. It's part of Taiwan's plans to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. Taiwan has experienced several blackouts in recent years as suppliers face increasing demand for electricity. But Tsai says the country is committed to moving away from fossil fuels.
我们持续研发氢能、地热等前瞻绿能的新兴技术，希望建立坚实的绿能产业供应链。
U.S. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is set to visit Taiwan in August, according to the Financial Times. If the trip goes ahead, Pelosi would be the first sitting U.S. House Speaker to visit in 25 years. She will also be the highest-ranking U.S. government member to make an official trip to Taiwan in recent history. Pelosi canceled a planned stop in Taipei in April after contracting COVID. TaiwanPlus reached out to Taiwan's foreign ministry for confirmation, but they said they had not yet received any information about a Pelosi visit. Beijing opposes any official interaction between U.S. and Taiwanese officials and warned of a forceful response.
如果佩洛西众议长访台，将严重违反一个中国原则和中美3个联合公报规定，严重损害中国主权和领土完整，严重冲击中美关系的政治基础。
Continuing a week that has already seen a flurry of Taiwan-related diplomacy, a cross-party Taiwanese delegation is on the third day of a trip to the Czech Republic. For more on this, our reporter James Chater spoke to Maciej Smelczyk, an executive director at the Central European Institute for Asian Studies in Bratislava, Slovakia.
What's significant about this delegation in terms of the Taiwanese group's members?
First of all, the delegation is quite high level, I have to say, since it's being led by the president of the Legislative Yuan, Mr. Yossi Kun, as well as the delegation being a cross-party one, as it comprises not only the MPs for the governing DPP party, but also from Kuomintang and the TPP, which is quite a novel development, I think, since until now, whenever we were seeing this kind of delegations and diplomatic outreach towards European countries, especially from the CEE region, until now it was really comprised mostly of DPP personalities and not from other political parties.
The Czechs took up the EU presidency at the beginning of July. Does this trip taking place soon after this have a particular relevance?
I think it is very relevant. The Czech presidency of the EU has clearly stated that the Indo-Pacific policy and the Indo-Pacific area, one of the core priorities for its next 6 months of the presidency of the EU Council, by engaging with Taiwanese representatives so closely after the presidency started and when the Indo-Pacific agenda is still being set, only can help, I think, Taiwan in making sure that the Czech presidency will keep its focus also on Taiwan within the Indo-Pacific policy, which is something I think that we could have already clearly expected as we are increasingly seeing different EU bodies engaging positively with Taiwan, not only the EU Parliament, which has, of course, been the most vocal, but recently also the EU Commission, which has invited Taiwanese representatives to one of its activities, the Civil Protection Forum. This clearly signifies that Taiwan is being considered as one of the key partners for the EU in the Pacific when it comes to promoting Europe's interests in the region.
There's been a flurry of delegations between Taiwan and European countries in the past year. Are these delegations having a real impact? And what else would turn this warmer diplomatic sentiment into real political action?
Yes, these delegations are quite significant. First of all, they are helping to put Taiwan higher on the agenda in the receiving states. But of course, we have to ask whether it is enough to put Taiwan on the agenda and to engage in only, let's say, symbolic gestures. I think it's also very important to keep focus on the more practical developments.
Taiwanese tennis star Jason Tsai has taken his place among Asia's top 3 highest-ranked players. Since the end of last year, Tsai moved from 280th in the world to 86th after winning 3 ATP Challenger Tour titles. It's not all been smooth sailing for Tsai. He says while it's been a good year, he has been homesick as he was away from Taiwan for long periods due to his tennis commitments and the COVID-19 pandemic. At a press conference ahead of the upcoming U.S. Open, Tsai said he hoped to make it to the second round of the competition for the first time as a tribute to his parents.
那时候就是他的手也有一点受伤，因为工作的关系，所以我就觉得非常辛苦。然后就是谢谢他们一直以来对我的支持，然后都不离不弃这样。
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today, we leave you with images of North Macedonian wedding traditions. Each July, scores of wedding-goers in traditional costume get together for a show that, in the words of one attendee, bring together tradition, history, and art. I'm Erika Liu. Take care and see you next time.